This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Shalom Aleichem, good morning, welcome to our viewers on Torah Anytime. Parsha Balak, want to dedicate the shir for the Atzlach of Ben Zion Mendoza. Him and his family should see apparent and revealed Siyata Dishma in everything they do. The Oyev Yisrael, the Apta Rebbe, once said to his Hasidim, you should know, in every Parsha, there's a remez to Avas Yisrael. Every Parsha in the Torah. Came time to Parshas Balak, so the Hasidim asked the Rebbe, Avas Yisrael, in Parshas Balak, where exactly do you see a remez to that? And the Rebbe says, what do you mean? The name of the Parsha, beginning of the Parsha, Balak himself. Balak is Rashi Tevos, Ve'ahavta lerecha kamoicha. The Rebbe says something, you have to internalize it. The Hasidim go outside. And they ask each other, did you understand what the Rebbe said? How does that work? No one understands. So they go and say, Rebbe, with all due respect, we don't understand what it means. Balak is Rashi Tevos. Balak is Beis. Ve'ahavta is Vav. Kamocha is Kaf. Balak is Kuf. So the Rebbe says that Balak is Beis. Beis, if it's not with a point inside, so it's a Veis. Veis and Vav, no. Kaf and Chuf, no. They switch off. And the Chassidim said, but Rebbe, it doesn't work. So the Rebbe looked at him and said, did you think Avas Yisrael is only when things are working out? You think only when the friend is so nice to you, then you can love him? Avas Yisrael is even when it's a kaf and a chaf. It's even when it's a beis and a vav. Even when things don't work out, you're still obligated in Avas Yisrael. And then he added and he said something. If you're so strict with the letters, you'll never find Avas Yisrael. Ay. What does it mean, Avas Yisrael? Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld Zatzal, the Rebbe of Yerushalayim, chief rabbi of Yerushalayim 100 years ago. He was once invited to a Sholem Zocher. Sholem Zocher, it's customary to have Arbus. If you don't have Arbus in Sholem Zocher, I don't think you're Yoitze. So the Baal Simcha gives Arbus to one of the guys, chickpeas. And the guy says, no. I don't eat Arbus outside my home. Yeah, I have to check for worms. You know, it's not so simple and not everybody is careful. I only eat Arbus at home. And everybody heard this. The guy was very embarrassed. He's implying that he doesn't do such a good job checking for bugs. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld was sitting at the other edge, the other side of the table, and he said to the Baal Simcha, isn't it customary on Sholem Zocher to give Arbus? How come you didn't offer me some Arbus? So he goes over and he gives him some Arbus and he starts eating. And once he started eating, everybody else eats. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld is about to leave. He goes over to this guy who didn't want to eat the Arbus before. And he says to him, you should know something. I'm also very makbid, and I never eat Arbus outside my house for the same reason you are. Kashrus reasons. But I'm also makbid that my chumos are not going to come on the account of someone else. And you know who taught me to eat Arbus? And not to chas v'sholom, hurt someone else? David HaMelech. Says, David HaMelech told you to eat Arbus? So yeah. David HaMelech wrote a pasuk in Tehillim Chav Beis Zayin. Va'anoichi tolas velo ish. Literally, I'm a worm. I'm not even a human being. But the Yosef Chaim wrote it a little differently. Va'anoichi, asks David HaMelech, Va'anoichi, you're asking me? I'd rather eat a tolat, a worm, velo chas v'sholom, not to devour another human being. Avas Yisrael. Make sure your hummus are great, but not when they come on the account of someone else. Vayagar Moav mipnei ha'am me'oid. Moav was very scared of Klal Yisrael, but why exactly? The Parsha says, Ki rabim heim. But grammatically, it really should say, the Parsha says, Ki rabhu, because there are many, but it should say, Ki rabim heim. There are many, not one. There are a lot of them. So I'm afraid. But the Parsha says, Ki ravu, in the singular. When we are united, when we are all together, no one can stand in front of us. Rashi says in Parsha Sisro, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, Vayichan, when it's singular, it's Keish Echad Belev Echad. So the singular always denotes Achdus, unity. And when Moav saw that we are standing together, he was afraid. Chazal make a comparison, mashal to a reed. If you have one reed, you can break it very easily. But when it's in a group, when they're together, it's in a bundle, you can't even break one. When we are united, that's when we have strength. And that's why they were afraid. But lemaise, you can be a very, very large group, but you're not doing anything to anyone, so why would we be afraid? So what was he really afraid of when he saw Klal Yisrael? Once he realized there's a lot of people, he realized if they're going to go to war, it's going to be dangerous. But why would we go to war? We're kind of nice. So what was he afraid of? I'm reading to you a pasuk. Tell me if I maybe forgot one or two words. Vayagar Moav me'ha'am me'oid ki ravu vayakotz Moav mibnei Yisrael. Is there any problem the way I read it? What's that? Mipnei. What do you need that for? The pasuk really says Vayagar Moav mipnei ha'am me'oid. Why can't you say me'ha'am? Vayakotz Moav mipnei bnei Yisrael. Just make it shorter. Vayakotz Moav mibnei Yisrael. Mipnei. Because Balak, the anti-Semite, saw the panim, the face of a Yid, and says, I hate them. And it didn't start with him. Because back in Shmois, Parsha Shmois, the pasuk says, Vayakutzu mipnei bnei Yisrael. They saw the Jewish face, anti-Semites. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. Nothing's changed. 2,000 years, 3,000 years. They don't like us. And it's so important to the Torah to tell us this emes. The Torah repeats this twice in this pasuk when grammatically it's not needed. You can make the pasuk much shorter. So the pasuk says twice, Vayagar Moav mipnei ha'am me'od, vayakotz Moav mipnei bnei Yisrael, from the Jewish face. They don't like us. They never did. It's Hashem soon. Maybe they will. Va'atomer leBilam, lama ikitani ze shalosh regalim. The donkey speaks to Bilam. Why'd you hit me? 3 times. But it doesn't say shalosh pe'amim. It says shalosh regalim. Says Rashi, Ramazlo. Donkey is hinting to Bilam, you're trying to uproot, to destroy a nation that celebrates 3 regalim? We have 612 other mitzvahs. So why is the donkey saying to Bilam, you're going to touch those people who celebrate 3 times a year? They go up to Yerushalayim. And what about shatnez? And what about just sitting in the sukkah and shaking? Valula, why single out specifically this mitzvah from everything else? Comes the Kotnus Or, does a remarkable calculation. There's a Gemara in Makos, Daf Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. Kol hamevaze et hamoyados, anyone who disgraces the moyados, it's as if he serves avodah zarah. What's the connection to avodah zarah? And Rashi over there says, afilu chulo shel moyed. This includes chol moyed. And who told Rashi? Who told Rashi? The Gemara says very clearly, Amar Rav Sheshes, b'shem Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, kol hamevaze es hamoyados. Moyados can mean the Yamim Tovim. Who says it has to do with chol moyed? Who told Rashi? And what's the connection between disrespecting Yamim Tovim, chol moyed, and avodah zarah? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the Moyadim? He gave us a lot of Yamim Tovim throughout the year. Why did he do that? The Yamim Tovim are here to rectify the sin of the golden calf. Chet HaEgel. What's the connection? Shabbos Peites Amud Aleph Chazal say, Moshe was delaying Boishesh. Al tikrei Boishesh ela ba shesh. The 6th hour came on the 40th day. Moshe is still not here. I guess he's never coming back. And they ran and they did the Egel. So they only started on the 6th hour of the day. The day is made out of 12 hours. So they served the Egel, Avodah Zarah, for 6 hours. From the 6th hour till the end of the day. That's only 6 hours. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with this Rachamim, wants to rectify that. How is he going to help us do that? Bitul. Nullify it. Bitul b'shishim. Any Isur is mivatal b'shishim. So what do? You take those 6 hours and you need to nullify them in times 60. What is that? 360. That's the Yamim Tovim. 7 days of Sukkot, 7 days of Pesach, 1 day of Shavuos. That's 15 days. 15 times 24 hours a day, 360. If you bevazer the moyados, if you disrespect the Yamim Tovim, it's as if you have a part in the Chet Egel because you're not allowing to rectify it. And that's how Rashi knows it has to do with Chol HaMoed, because Chol HaMoed is also included with those 360 hours that are needed for nullifying Chet HaEgel. So that's the connection between Chol HaMoyed, that's how Rashi knew it, that's the connection between Avodah Zarah and not giving enough respect for the Yamim Tovim. Now if you look at Targum Yonasan, and Rashi as well, it's Moedik. When the Pasuk says, Vayashes El Hamidbar Panav, he's looking towards the desert, the Targum Yonasan doesn't touch it literally. Veshavi lekabel egla de avnu beYisrael b'midbar. He was looking towards, in other words, in his envisioning, the Chet HaEgel that they did in the desert. In other words, he wanted to be the prosecuting agent in order for his curses to apply on Klal Yisrael. He was looking towards the sin of Chet HaEgel. That's why Rashi says what he says. What does he say? You're trying to uproot a nation that celebrates 3 times a year? Don't you know when they go up to Yerushalayim 3 times a year, they already nullified the Chet HaEgel? Mimele, there's no room for your klala to apply on Klal Yisrael. That's why they single out specifically this mitzvah from all the other mitzvahs in the Torah. V'lo play. Vayomer elav malach Hashem, al ma ikitza zasonecha? Ze shalosh regalim. Why are you hitting your donkey 3 times? Says the Oznaim LaTorah. Look at this, it's unbelievable. The malach comes to rebuke Bilam for what he's doing. What's the real problem here? You're going to curse my beloved people. But what is the first thing he's rebuking about? Tzar Ba'alei Chaim. Why are you hitting your donkey? 3 times. Instead of Kiyara Tadech. Where are you going? You're going to curse my people? Yeah, it's important. But Tzar Ba'alei Chaim. Says the Oznaim LaTorah, you see from here, a severe Tzar Ba'alei Chaim is, and don't take it lightly. In the blessings, curses of Bilam, Mimana Afar Yaakov. Asks the Chafetz Chaim, what's the word Afar doing here? Mimana Yaakov. Who can count the dust of Yaakov? It's superfluous. And what does it mean? Why can't you count them? Why can't you count Klal Yisrael? Many countries have a census. It's very common. If the country is big and a lot of people, maybe it's a little more difficult. It can be done. No big deal. So why can't you count Klal Yisrael? And why do you have to say the word dust? You could just say Mimana. Who can count? Yaakov. What you gain by the word Afa? Says the Chafetz Chaim, because Bilam was right. You cannot count Klal Yisrael. You can count those people who are here. No problem. Maybe we're scattered all over. It'll take you a little time, but you can. But in Brachos Yud Ches, Chazal say, Tzadikim b'moisan nikraim chaim. A tzaddik, after he leaves this world, he is still called chaim. He's alive. Mimele, it's impossible to count us, and that's why the word afar appears here, because afar reminds us of those people who are no longer here. But they continue to live somewhere else. So you can count the people who are here, says Bilam, but it's impossible to count Klal Yisrael as opposed to all other nations, because we continue to live just in a different place. Here is a very temporary existence, and then we move to eternal one. Maybe you can never count all those millions upon millions. Go count them. Impossible. And therefore Bilam, at least one thing, he was right. So the donkey opens its mouth and starts talking to him. In what language? Japanese, Arabic, Aramaic, Lashon Kodesh, Italian, Spanish, English, Hebrew? Not Lashon Kodesh, you're saying Hebrew. Hebrew that didn't exist yet. You're saying Hebrew, not Lashon Kodesh. Interesting. That's a big Kiddush. Documentations to back yourself up? What language is it speaking? You assume the local language. Any proof?
I think that the other people, they heard the discussion, or at least they heard Bill talking back to the donkeys, and they saw how embarrassing it was that he couldn't control.
You're thinking of Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz, the Tiferes Yonasa, and he says a big chiddush. When the pasuk says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened up the pi ha'ason, the mouth of the ason, he says that's not talking about the donkey. There's a malach in charge of the donkey. The name of the malach is pi ha'ason, donkey's mouth, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened his mouth. The Sfarim HaKadoshim, he also has another name. His name is Kemuel. So what's the nafkamina if it's the donkey's mouth or the angel that's in charge of, represents that donkey? If it's the angel, it must be Lashon Kodesh. Because angels don't use any other language, not Hebrew. Lashon Kodesh, not Hebrew. Lashon Kodesh. Not Aramaic. Not Japanese.
What's the things on
The mouth of the donkey, or the angel that's responsible for the mouth of the donkey. So if it's the angel, it must be speaking Lashon Kodesh. But if it's the donkey, it must be speaking a local language. Because if you look at the psukim, it's clear that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing this to embarrass Bilam in front of the ministers of Moab that he sent him. So how is it embarrassing if the donkey is speaking a language that they don't understand? They just think the donkey is a very strange donkey, but they don't understand what it's saying. Maybe it's not even a language. We don't know what they're saying. So it must be, says Tiferes Yonasan, that it spoke a local language. The Ritva in Avodah Zarah says, no, Lashon Kodesh. The Ravid disagrees. So we have different opinions.
Was it a special way of communicating, not just listening? Everybody else heard it.
Most donkeys send SMS, WhatsApp, email. This donkey was unique. Very, very special way of communicating. It actually spoke.
So we see different ways of communicating.
Different ways of communications.
But so if he spoke Lashon Kodesh, how do we say that they understood Lashon Kodesh, all the people?
The Ritva says it spoke Lashon Kodesh. Maybe they didn't understand, but they saw that the donkey is speaking. It's not for them to understand, but they're seeing something very special going on here. Lo ish kel v'yichazev. It's a Kodesh Baruch Hu, a man. He has a change of heart. Chas v'sholom. Uven adam v'yisnachem. He doesn't go back on what he says. Hahu amar v'lo ya'aseh v'diber v'lo yekimena. He doesn't go back on his word. What is this word? Hahu. Why can't you say hu amar? What is hahu? Seems like an extra hey. Reuven sends Shimon to kill Levi. Is Reuven chayav for sending the shaliach to kill Levi? You're saying no. En shaliach ledvar aveira. Only Shimon who killed Levi is chayav. Reuven is 100%. You sure? It's not so pashut. Depends who you ask. Machlokes in Kiddushin Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Tanakama and Shammai. Tanakama says like you. The Meshaleach, the one who sent him, is Patur. Shammai says, it's Chayav. Shammai says it in the name of Chagai Hanavi. The Meshaleach, Reuven, who sent Shimon, is Chayav. How does Shammai know this? He brings a raya from David HaMelech. Nasan Hanavi says to David HaMelech, Ve'oto haragta becherev bnei Ammon. You killed Uriah. Did David HaMelech kill Uriah? No, he didn't. What did he do? He sent him to war. I'm just the sender. I didn't do anything. So why is the Navi charging David? You killed him. Ve'oto haragta. You killed him. No, he didn't. You see from here, it says Shammai in the name of Chagai Hanavi. There is a shaliach ledvar aveira, and the meshaleach will be chayav. Tanakama doesn't agree. What is Tanakama going to answer Shammai, which has a very strong proof? A pasuk from the Navi. Tanakama is not so impressed and says, you have brought me a pasuk from the Navi, I'll bring a pasuk from the Torah. Shchutei chutz. Send shechting a behema outside Beis HaMikdash. Dam yechashev laish hahu dam shafach. What does it say, laish? Hahu. Dam yechashev laish, he spilled blood, comma, hu, dam shafach. Hahu, says Tanakama. From the fact that Torah writes ha-hu with an extra hey, the Tanakama learns, in case a Reuven sends his friend, he's the Meshaleach, he sends his friend to shecht outside, Reuven is exempt. Only ha-hu, only that person who did the Aveira is chayav in charge and not the Meshaleach. Mimele, ein shaliach ledvar Aveira, that is what Tanakama holds. According to Tanakama, when you see this letter hey, when it's superfluous, we learn from that, ein shaliach ledvar Aveira. Shammai holds, we don't darshan it. And therefore, according to Shammai, yes, shaliach ledvar Aveira. According to David HaMelech, if we're going to darshan the letter hey like Tanakama, David HaMelech will be exempt. Says the Ben Ish Chai. Sweet. Maybe this is what David HaMelech meant in Tehillim Pei Vav, Pasuk Yud Zayin, when he wrote, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, Aseimi ois letoiva. Do me a favor. V'yiru sonai v'yevoishu. Kodesh Baruch Hu, do me a favor. No, that's not what it says. Aseh imi ois letoiva. Kodesh Baruch Hu, please, darshan that letter, that hey, do it like Tanakama. And if you're going to do that, you know what's going to happen? V'yiru sonai v'yevoishu. All those people who hate me, and they charge me for killing Uriah, they'll see that I'm exempt. There is no shelech ledvar aveira. Mimele, the sender is exempt. Only the person who killed him. I have nothing to do with this. Similarly, Achaz shoalti meyes Hashem oivei. Achaz shoalti meyes Hashem. Oisa. Oisa avakesh. Ois. Hey avakesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I request of you. Don't darshan the letter hey. I'm sorry. Darshan the letter hey, because if you do, en shelech ledvar avera. If en shelech ledvar avera, I'm exempt. What's the connection to our Parsha? Says the Ben Ish Chai. This continues in our Parsha. Lo ishkel v'yichazev. Kodesh Baruch Hu is not a man. He doesn't lie. Uven adam v'yisnachem. Ha hu amar. V'lo yakim. Something is superfluous here. He said, no, the letter here, it doesn't have to be here. Bilam wanted to say to Balak, listen, since HaKadosh Baruch Hu already said to Yaakov, Oerecha aru, anyone who curses you is cursed. Anyone who blesses you is blessed. Mimele, whatever I say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to switch it around. It's not going to work. So Bilam says to Balak, but maybe you'll say, look, I am your messenger. So the klalos will be anew. I don't have to worry about him. No. Hahu amar velo yaseh. We learn from the word hahu that in shaliach ledvar avera, the curses are not going to work to curse Klal Yisrael, but they will work on me. I'm going to be charged, and I don't want to. Balak doesn't give in. He's insisting, and he says, so what? You know what? You're right. Klalos will fall on your head. But you also hate them. So you will fulfill the pasuk, Tamos nafshi im plishtim. So, fine. If it doesn't work, something will happen to you. But let me say, you also hate them, so what do you care? Therefore, Bilam said, it doesn't work. V'diber v'lo yakimena. Even if I die, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never allow his people to be cursed. Because he already blessed them. Uvarech v'lo ashivena. He already gave him a bracha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, whoever blesses Klal Yisrael, the bracha stays. I will never change. Mimele says, Bilam to Balak, it just doesn't work. En shelech ledvar aveira, my curses are not going to work. And the only thing that can work is for me at the end to stay with all the curses. And therefore, switching, going to plan B, and starting to bless Klal Yisrael.
We said that whoever said that David HaMelech was toy, did sin, he was toy. So if according to this, we are taking part on the machloket that we darshan the hay.
First of all, we know the halacha is not like Shammai, even though it's the name of Haggai and Navi. Of course we take part. We know halacha is like Tanakama, en shlech dvar avera, except for Meila. There is shlech dvar avera, Meila. So in the klalos brachos of Bilam, he says, Erenu velo ata, ashurenu velo karov, darach koichav miyakov vekam shevet miyisrael, umachatz paasei moya vekarkar kol bnei shes, vaya edom yeresha, vaya yeresha seiri oiva, v'Yisrael oisechayil. The Rambam takes this nevuah and he breaks it apart. Rambam in Melachim, Hilchos Melachim, Perek Yud Aleph, Halacha Aleph, says the duties, the jobs, the description of the Mashiach. What is he supposed to do? And the Rambam talks about the significance of believing in the coming of Mashiach. And we said many times, it's not just believing in the coming, it's anticipating his arrival every single day. But the Rambam learns all this from this nevuah, from Bilam. And the Rambam says, Er'enu velo ata ze David, Ashurenu velo karov ze Melech HaMashiach. Derach koichav miYaakov ze David, Vekam shevet miYisrael ze Melech HaMashiach. And he continues to break these psukim out. Umachatz paasei Moav ze David, Vekarkar kol bnei shes ze Melech HaMashiach. Vaya edom yeresha ze David, Vaya yeresha ze Melech HaMashiach. So the Rambam says these psukim are talking about two Mashiachim, David HaMelech and the one in Mitzvah Hashem coming soon to a place near you. Why is it that we have to learn The Yesoidus HaEmunah, foundation of Mamash, the pillars of our faith, coming from Bilam? Why not from Moshe Rabbeinu? Or all other Nevi'im? From Bilam? I think maybe it's a midah keneged midah. Bilam wanted to uproot Klal Yisrael from the Olam Hazeh. So Dafka he's not even aware of what he's saying, but Dafka he is speaking about their continuity and eternity in the world to come. He wanted to destroy Klal Yisrael's existence. He is going to be the one prophesizing for the nitzchius of Klal Yisrael, that they will last forever. Since we're talking about the klalos of Bilam, listen to this maisa, terrible maisa that happened, has to do with klalos. Reuven builds his sukkah every single year in his porch, small porch. The family grew and grew and grew. It's just very uncomfortable. Some of his kids are already married, they have kids, tiny little porch. So he decided this year he's going to go to the roof. He's going to build a sukkah over there. Shimon, his neighbor, built a sukkah there for many, many years. Everybody has access to the roof. It's shared, it's not owned by Shimon. But Shimon has a sukkah there. This year, Reuven decides, I'm going to build my sukkah there. That'll be so geschmack. A lot of room for all of us. Shimon says to him, you can't build there. Listen, you're going to come with all the little kids. You're going to make so much noise. My wife and I are here every single year. It's so pleasant and it's so quiet. Many, many years. You're going to come with, you're going to destroy our yontif. I sleep in the sukkah. I won't be able to sleep there. Oh, your kids, oh, there's so many people. It's not shaykh. Don't build a sukkah here. Al pi din, of course, Reuven is allowed to. It's his property, just like it's Shimon's. It's a shared roof. But Reuven knows his neighbor Shimon. And he knows that if he will build the sukkah there, his neighbor will hate him. He will speak Lashon Hara about him, and he will curse him. So Reuven asks, should he build the sukkah on the roof, or is it considered that he is putting a big, gigantic stone, a rock, in front of this blind person? He's machshilim. He is causing him to stumble on 3 major averos. Lashon Hara, Sina, he's going to hate him. He's going to curse him. Big time. He knows his neighbor. Should he build the sukkah there or not? He's going to destroy his neighbor's sukkahs. He's done it for 15 years. I've been building a sukkah. So nice. You're coming with your whole tribe? All the little kids, and they're loud, and they're yelling, and they're running back and forth. You're destroying my yontif. Should he build it there or not?
Officially,
You're saying no?
officially, I mean, the roof is really...
Shared property.
It's shared.
Shared.
So officially
I said, al pi din, you're allowed to. But he's asking, if I do, I'm machshil him. I'm causing him to go over these. I know him. I know his personality. He's going to curse me. He's going to speak Lashon Hara. He's going to hate me. It's me, 3 major averos. Am I considered that I'm causing him to stumble on these averos?
Where's the mitzvah for him to have all his family over and make all that noise?
Accommodate your neighbor who's 15 years in the same place.
No, I'm saying the other way. I'm saying his neighbour, he's going to be over these averos, he's going to cause a stumbling block, where the alternative is he just wants to have...
Right. So go back to your tiny little porch and try to put 45 people there in a place which is about the size of this table. You have no problem with that.
There's no leaf neighbor at all.
Why not? There's no leaf neighbor b'midos?
The guy's doing a mitzvah. There's going to do a sickness on the roof.
What about mitzvah ba'avera when I'm machshil somebody else while I'm doing a mitzvah?
But the shalom comes from the guy's lack of. He doesn't know how to.
But I know the guy. That's what's going to happen. Inevitably, that is not going to happen.
But that's him. That's his.
So I don't have to worry about it.
His midot? No,
I don't have to worry about it.
I don't think so.
עד שיבוא השלישי ויכריע ביניכם. What's that?
Switching.
You're switching now. Shh. You're so convinced.
I'm just wondering, putting a stumbling block in front of a blind person, is that also relevant to someone that has a certain middle where it's almost certainly going to happen all the time? I'm asking the question, is it...
Can you cause a person to get angry? I think we once talked about this, maybe last year.
What was if they naturally have a very, very strong anger?
Right.
To the fact that they would get angry over something that no one else...
So you don't have to be extra careful?
I'm asking, I don't know.
I think we spoke about this a year ago. If there is lifnei iver, regarding Midos. I think Parshas Kedoshim.
No, it's simply give him the porch. If they are,
What's that?
Give him the porch.
Give him the porch. Yeah, he really wants to go through your house, to go 6 floors down, to go to. Don't think it's you're giving a great eitzah, but I'm trying to deal with the question. What's that? Not practical. Reuven is patu from the sukkah? Why? That's too big of a chiddush to accept unless you have some kind of a documentation. Why would it be patu from sukkah? If you don't want him to go to the roof, so let him go back to his porch. He can't be patu because of this. What's that? So for Shimon, the neighbor, maybe Shimon will be patu. When there's so much noise, maybe Shimon will be patu. But Shimon wants to fulfill the mitzvah. He's been doing it for 15 years there, and he wants to continue. He doesn't want to look for a heterim to get out of the mitzvah. He wants to fulfill the mitzvah. And you go back to your porch and continue to do the mitzvah the same way you did it for the last 15 years.
Also the curse, I'm saying the other way. So Reuven does the sukkah there, that the tzara he has is the curse, lashon hara, and hate of his neighbor. So that's.
We don't find that mitztayr patu min sukkah is because I know somebody speaking about me lashon hara now. That's a mitztayr that allows me to be exempt. That's too big of chidushim you're saying here today.
Could be shomer nafsho maybe. He shouldn't go up.
He shouldn't go up.
Because of the
So
cursing.
you persuaded him, and now you're going back.
This guy's the pikuach nefesh. He doesn't want to get cursed out.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
No, but that either that's because as if I care that he's going to be
Right, so I don't care about that. I'm just scared. I don't want to be cursed.
Right. That sounds like he should maybe take caution there. You don't want to deal with those people.
So what? So let me say, should he build on the roof or not?
For the sake of Shalom.
For the sake of shalom, no. This shayla went to a very chashuv posek, one of the leading poskim in Bnei Brak. And he paskin and he told Reuven, al pidin, you're allowed to build on the porch. Don't build there. On the roof. Don't build there. If you will, it will be considered that you're machshilim, you're causing him to curse you, to hate you, to speak lashon hara. And he said to him something. You should know, if you do build on the roof, Aaron HaKohen is not coming as a nushpizin to your sukkah. What's the midah of Aaron? Oyev machloikes. Oyev shalom. Roidev lashon hara. Roidev shalom. Aaron HaKohen is not coming to your sukkah. I saw this psak. I don't understand this psak. And in my humble opinion, it's not a little wrong, it's 100% wrong. Why? Reuven has a right to the roof exactly like Shimon. So you can't say in the same sentence, you have the right, but you're machshil someone else. If I'm machshil someone else in an aveira, that means I don't have the right. And if I do have the right, so I'm not machshil anyone. Imagine, I want to walk in the street, and it upsets my neighbor that's sitting in his porch and he's looking at me. I don't want you to walk in the street. I have the right to walk in the street just like you. So I have to find a different street to walk because you don't like it? You can't take away somebody else's rights. The rights to use this roof are all the residents. There is a concept called al-hanizak leharchik es atzmo. The one who's being damaged should distance himself. You don't like it? So you go somewhere else and find a different place to build your sukkah. The Chassam Sofer B'Metzia Ayin Vav writes, Isura Ika, there's an Isur, lehisraim al chaveiro b'chinam. To get angry at your friend for no good reason is an Isur. You decided that I'm not allowed to be here, and if I'm going to make noise because I have a lot of kids, and I'm involved in a mitzvah, so you're going to be upset at me? And it's not just Reuven and Shimon. What about Reuven's family? Why deny them the simcha of Yontif? Because of Shimon's upstairs that he doesn't like the noise. So the whole Reuven family, I don't know how many people there are, they have to cramp up into a tiny little porch? What about his wife? What about his family, his sons-in-laws, his grandchildren? They all want to come into the sukkah. Why in the world would you want to take somebody else's rights? And that's considered the Yom Machshalim? Don't understand it. Before we continue, let me ask you a shayla. Reuven and Leah were married, got divorced. Reuven remarried shortly after. And Baruch Hashem has a very nice life. Leah never got married. Their son is with the mother, but he stays in touch with the father. Very good relationship. He gives them money sometimes. Now, their son is going to get married. You should know this is a very common shayla. So his son is sending an invitation to the father, and the father says to him, listen, I don't come by myself. I'm married. I'm coming with your stepmother. Leah, the mother, says to her son, listen, you don't invite your stepmother. If you do, I'm going to become sick. You are my only nachas. Now, to take you to the chuppah, I was waiting for this for so many years. You're going to bring your father's wife. I'm going to see her. I'm going to explode. I'm just going to explode. Blood pressure. I'm going to be sick. You're not allowed to bring her. Should he listen to his mother? No. He has to bring his father. He has to bring his mother. Does he have to bring his stepmother? The father says, you have to bring. I'm married to this lady. You have to bring her. Should he listen to his mother?
The same idea as with the sukkah.
That's why I'm bringing this. And the answer is
That she can't prevent the wife from coming.
this shayla went to Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef said just that. You want to take away a right of someone else? Kodesh Baruch Hu said in his Torah, he was allowed to get married to this lady, right? So you want to take away and deprive him his rights? Oh, you're saying you're going to get sick? No problem. Go to the doctor and let him prescribe you the right pills to calm down. You can't take somebody else's rights away. You're not machshirim by anything. How am I going to become sick? So don't go. Or go with a big stock of whatever pills are going to work for you. Similarly, and it's interesting because this I saw in the same posek who brought this shayla about the sukkah. He brings this from Rabbi Yosef that he asked him. And he asked another shayla, similar. By the way, the Birkei Yosef speaks about this. The Chidah speaks mamish about this. Chidah says that a person must honor his wife's new father or his father's new wife, even if his mother protests. It's a Torah's obligation to honor your stepmother, your stepfather. It's a Torah's obligation. But their biological mother or father says, no, you can't. It's like when a father says, I can't stand this guy. You should not stand him. Don't talk to him. Can't they do that? The Torah says, Lo sisna es achicha bilvavecha. It's like saying, go and violate Shabbos. Both you and I are supposed to honor this person, to love him. You have a problem, right? Work on it. But you can't tell me to do something which is against the Torah. Similarly, there was a father-in-law who was very upset with his son-in-law. And Rebbe Yosef wrote, the anger of this father-in-law is not correct. And you can't conduct yourself because of the craziness of people. You should continue doing the right thing. And people go crazy and they get angry. It doesn't change because of that, the halacha. Mimele. Back to our case. Shimon can get angry and say whatever he wants. We hope that Mitzvah Hashem is going to learn some Musa. He's going to come down, and if he needs, he can take some pills, sleeping pill, whatever he needs in order to be able to sit in the sukkah and enjoy the sukkah. But if he doesn't, that's his problem. You can't take away somebody else's rights. But I didn't want to go against this leading posek, Mamish, one of the leading poskim. So I went to Reb Chaim. I asked Rebbe, what do you say? Should Reuven be afraid of the curses of Shimon? Reb Chaim says, Lo tzarich lachshosh. Doesn't have to worry about it. I asked once Reb Chaim, there's a woman who cursed her sister. You should have cancer. The sister didn't do anything. For whatever reason, her sister cursed her, you should have cancer. The sister is trembling. Who wants to hear this type of a curse? So, should she try to appease her sister and take back this curse? Reb Chaim says to me, the one who cursed has to ask forgiveness. If you curse when you're not supposed to, the klala goes right back, 180 degrees, whoop, it comes back on your head. Mimele, the one who was cursed doesn't have to appease the one who cursed. The one who cursed has to appease her. It's a pasuk in Mishlei. The Gemara darshans this. Mishlei, Perek Chavav, pasuk Beis. The pasuk says, "Kilelas chinam lo tavoy." It goes back on the head of the person who cursed. So I said to him, Rebbe, lemaisa, should she try to appease her? He says, no, lehefech, the opposite. The sister who cursed, she is the one who needs to appease the sister whom she cursed. So that's how it works with curses, and that's it with Bilam's curses.
There's sugya about causing noise in a shchuna, in an area, that if there's a certain level of quietness and all that.
Sure. There's also a law, and dina de malchusa dina, and hakol keminaga medina. If you're not allowed between 2 and 4 to make noise to your neighbors, or after 11 p.m., or before 6 a.m., whatever the law is, you're not allowed to. But we all go to a temporary dwelling that we call sukkah, and we live there for a week, and we're supposed to. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. And when we do, we go with our family, and we can't shut their mouth for a week. All the kids, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to live teishvu ke'en tadu, exactly the same way you live in your house. So of course, try to accommodate, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe you shouldn't be so noisy. But just to be there, in a place which is mine, just like yours, when you go to Rishus HaRabim and you make noise to others, it's against the law, it's against Salah, it's against everything. But this is not Rishus HaRabim. It's my Rishus just like it's yours. He has no right to tell me where to build a sukkah. And in fact, I can tell him, why don't you get out of here and find somewhere else? It's my property just like yours. Mimele is trying to take away somebody else's rights. He has no right to do that.
I was doing this with my son doing in Mashkia. I was there on the bus, and the Arab likes in Mashkia.
What happened? What happened?
My son's Mashkia happened to the story.
Right.
That they were on the bus, and full bus, but the Arab driver wanted the Mashkia to sit down. He likes the Mashkia. He got one of the boys, please get up now, let the Mashkia sit down. The boy got up saying, let the Mashkia like this. He should be choshesh to... Because he embarrassed him and he was his fault. The Arab caused him to ask the Shailu.
The Mashgiach, anyways, is a Talmid Chochem. You have to honor him and give him a seat. Not because the Arab said so. Not because the driver said. The truth is, we all have a right for the seat when we pay money. And when we pay money, I don't have to get up for you because you paid the same ticket. And if you want to have that seat, get on the bus before me. Go to the stop before me. I don't have an obligation to. But since he is my Rebbe, he's the Mashgiach, he's the Rebbe of all of us here. I should honor him. Do I have mamish an obligation? No. The obligation is to stand up when he passes by. Don't have obligation to lose money because of that. I paid the same value of ticket that he did, and that entitled me, whoever comes into the bus first, to get that seat. I don't have to. But it's going to look kind of awkward, especially if this Mashgiach is 85 years old, and this young Bachu is 19 and a half, and this Mashgiach is almost collapsing, and he said, it's my seat. So forget about the driver. It's just wrong. But technically speaking, we all have the same rights that the ticket entitles us when we get on the bus.
The answer of Reb Chaim was build the sukkah.
Sure, Reb Chaim said you're right. The sukkah can be built there, it's our shared property, and we all can stay there.
Story though about the story about Israel slums, like a bucket was traveling in a railway carriage, and somebody opened the window, closed the window. As though I've heard this story, and he went out his way to.
I don't know which story you're talking about. There's many stories with windows.
Sitting there, he opened the window, maybe something was smoking. The person asked him to close it. There's too much draft, and he closed it again. And then the person said, "No, there's no air in here." And he opened it. He went. Never heard that. In order to
not familiar. I think I said a different story about the Chafetz Chaim once with a window. That's good to say. It's a few years already since we said it. The Chafetz Chaim was once on the train, and he saw this Goyish lady with her daughter, and the Goyish lady was kind of cold. So she gets up, she closes the window. Her daughter gets up right after her, 2 seconds later. She goes to the window and opens it. Oh, chutzpah. So the mother gets up and closes the window. 2 seconds later, the daughter gets up and opens the window. The mother is cold. She gets up, she closes the window. The daughter couldn't care less. She gets up, opens the window. She sits there. The mother looks at her and says, "Shh, you're going to get it when we get home. You're going to get it when we get back home." Says the Chafetz Chaim, "Shkoyech, you just now explained to me something that I never understood." We have 6 remembrances. Many Sidurim, it's printed to say it. One of them is, Zachor es asher asa Hashem Elokecha leMiriam. When? Baderech. When? B'tzesrei Mitzrayim. Superfluous words. What are you trying to remember? Lashon Hara, right? Zachor es asher asa Hashem Elokecha leMiriam. Period. No. Baderech b'tzesrei Mitzrayim. Why do you need these words? Says the Chafetz Chaim, it's always bothered me until I saw that encounter with that lady and her daughter, then I understood. Why does it say baderech? Because normally baderech, when you're traveling, you don't punish. You don't punish the kid in front of everybody. You're on the train. What did the lady do? She didn't hit her daughter. She said, wait, I'm going to hit you when we get back home. We're traveling now. It's embarrassing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm not willing to forgive Lashon Hara. When did I punish Miriam? Zachor es asher asa Hashem Elokecha leMiriam. When? When we were traveling, baderech. We stopped everybody. All the nations see. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not willing to forgive for Lashon Hara. What's B'tzeisrei Mitzrayim? It's a time of simcha. When a kid annoys his father, but it's at the simcha, when he's marrying off another sibling, another kid, bar mitzvah, wedding, you don't punish the kid. It's a time of simcha. Nah, he's just playing around. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you're right. B'tzeisrei Mitzrayim is the greatest simcha in the world. We're traveling, receiving the Torah. But Lashon Hara, in the middle of the simcha, in the middle of the wedding, I'm going to hit my kid. Zachor es asher asa Hashem Elokecha leMiriam. When? When we're traveling? B'tzeisrei Mitzrayim was the ultimate simcha? Yes. That's what we remembered every single day. Because Lashon Hara, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what did he do to Beis HaMikdash? What did he take us out to Galus for 2,000 years? Because of Lashon Hara, in front of everybody. Lashon Hara, that's where it stops. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like it. Which goes back to what we said before about being united, and that goes back to a window story. Don't go with them. Don't curse them. You know why? So Rashi brings a very strange exchange. Don't go with them. So Bilam says, okay, fine. I won't travel. So I'll curse him from here. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, no, don't curse him. So he says, okay, if I can't curse him, I'll bless him. If you can't curse, so then you'll bless. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, they don't need your blessing. They're already blessed. Mashal, Rashi brings a mashal. What do you say to the bee? I don't want not your honey and not your sting. Wasp. What does this mean? If you can't curse, I can't curse them. So let me bless them. If you can't curse, what do you want to bless? So just Sheva al Taisa, be passive. The Ginze Yosef brings a medrash. Medrash in Shir Hashir Mirabah, Parsha Beis Ois Mem Aleph. The medrash says, why is it that Rivka Imenu was barren for so many years? 20 years. Big tzadekis. What went wrong? Lavan cursed her. Achoteinu, at heyi le'alfei revava. Multitudes of people should come from you. If she goes back and gets married to Yitzhak and 9 months later there's a baby boy, what will everybody say? Lavan, you have the koyach to give blessings. And instead of going to Chaim Kanievsky, people will start going out to Lavan. Lavan, give me a bracha. Achil Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says it's better that Rivka will be barren for 20 years. So the people won't say that this Reshaim have a koyach to give a bracha. What do you see from here? That the klala of Reshaim is actually, a klala is very damaging, but you see from here that a bracha from Reshaim is as devastating. Because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make sure it doesn't come true, because other people are going to say, Bilam, you have the koyach to give brachos. So Bilam says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I can't curse them. Fine. So let me give brachos. If I give brachos, those brachos will be denied. Givaldik is just like the curse. It's the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't listen not to the klala of Reshaim and not to the bracha of Reshaim. So people, Chalila, won't think that the Reshaim have the koyach. This works very well with what the Rosh and the Das Zekeni Mibali Atoisves bring, that Bilam is Lavan. So he's consistent. He already blessed once upon a time. Rivka Imeinu. So he wants to continue and bless. And it worked last time. Last time he blessed her, she didn't have children for 20 years. So Bilam says, I'm going to do the same. And I want to bless him. That's why if you can't let me curse them, I'd like to bless him. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that's also not going to work. Rivka wasn't blessed before that. So it's your blessing and nothing else. And if it's going to go through, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, people are going to say, wow, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives koyach even to the Rashaim to give blessings. But Klal Yisrael are already blessed. Ki Baruch Hu already blessed them before. So even if you say some blessings, and it's going to, as if, work, nobody's going to say it's because of Bilam's blessings. In this case, everybody knows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself blessed them. Maybe if you want to say blessings, go ahead, do whatever you want, doesn't make a difference. So by Lavan, we had to worry about the blessings of Rishayim. By Bilam, we don't need to Ki Baruch Hu, because this nation is already blessed by me, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, if you want to give blessings, you can, it's not a problem.
So why is that a bracha that the father is supposed to say that to his daughter who's coming to the chuppah?
To say what?
I don't know, to say, for your revoga.
Does it say this in Shulchan Aruch? Where does it say that the father has to say this?
I learned that. That's what the father says to this.
We also say Matovu Alecha Yaakov every single day. And Chazal wanted to institute it to say it like the Ten Commandments.
It's not so?
No, it's not a problem. Once you use it and you have your kavanos, no problem. When the Rasha says something, we want to avoid that when his name is a Lavan. But once it's established, it's a pasuk in the Torah, you can take that pasuk and do whatever you want with it, and you have good intentions, you're a Yid, and you have good intentions for your daughter, for everyone else. What's the problem? Only when a Rasha blesses, that we want to avoid.
You're saying that Hashem said that Bilam should go and bless the Jewish people? Or here you say
We're asking, why is it that Bilam had a change of Hashem? I can't curse, fine. Give some blessings. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, you want to bless? No problem. But don't think it's going to help you like it helped Lavan, that because of your blessing I had to deny children from Rivka for 20 years. But you, it's not going to help because Ki Baruch Hu, because this nation is already blessed. So nobody's going to think it's your blessings that are making things happen in this world because I blessed them, says the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right. We don't need your blessings, we don't need your curses. If you want to bless, fine, we're not going to deny, it's not a problem. It's not going to hurt them like the blessings of Lavan did.
This is the lesson to the nation
That stay away from us. Some Gabaim met recently, a convention of Gabaim, and they were discussing the new plague. There's a plague all over the world, many shuls, and they are the Parsha sheets plague. Those pamphlets. Some shuls receive dozens. Unbelievable how many. And there's 7 major issues that are bothering the Gabai, and rightfully so. And because of that, they came up with 2 questions. What are the main issues? The one who distributes these sheets, they put them in the shul, and many shuls, nobody takes them. And it goes directly into Gniza. So not only do the Gabaim are responsible for everything that moves in the shul and takes so much time, now they have something else that they have to deal. They have to take Motzei Shabbos, all these pamphlets, and take them to the Gniza. And by the way, Gniza costs money. So now you're causing the shul to spend money that it doesn't need to spend. So the Gabaim called the distributors and said, please, don't send this over. Totally ignored them. And they continue to send, week after week. Also, this is a major problem, many people take these pamphlets and read them in the middle of davening. It's so disrespectful to tefillah. Instead of being concentrating on what we came here to daven. No, we came to look at some Parsha sheets. It's mamish a disgrace. Many of those sheets have advertisements for your next vacation, for your car, for a house, for whatever moves. You can't read that on Shabbos. You're not allowed to read this on Shabbos. One of the Gabaim said, Shabbos morning, he has to come 15 minutes before davening just to collect all the pamphlet sheets and to organize the shul. They're spread all over from last night. Many of those pamphlets have a low level of spiritual content. And it's not appropriate. It's supposed to give chizuk. It's supposed to elevate you. And the Gabaim say, they call the distributors, they call those who write this, and they said, listen, this is meant for kiruv. So they asked him, so why do you send him to a Haredi shul? They didn't have an answer. What's the answer? You know what the answer is? The distributors receive big donations because they say to the people who donate money, we distribute this 10,000, this pamphlet, 25,000. It's all over Israel. The bigger the numbers, the bigger the donation. What do I care where it goes and what you do with it? It's a terrible thing. Many times, especially in small towns, the Gabayim receive it and it goes directly into Gniza, and some people report Sunday morning they see all these pamphlets in the garbage. Divrei Torah in the garbage. So the questions are, a person who wants to donate money, tzedakah, can he consider this tzedakah when sometimes it doesn't cause a spiritual elevation? The opposite. It causes a spiritual, and it causes a mamish zilzul and tefillah, disrespectful to davening. Also, somebody used meiser money, and at the end, the Gabayim as a result had to take this and spend money, their own money, the money of the shul. Is it considered that he uses meiser money correctly, or does he have to again take more money because it's as if he took money and threw it to the garbage? He's trying to do an ilui neshama for whatever relative, and this pamphlet is going directly to the Gniza, or chas v'shalom to the garbage. Does he have to spend money again for meiser?
These are all the negatives, but there are also plenty. I mean, I know one guy who did tshuva because he saw the Brut thing, and
right?
he did tshuva in China. So
But what about these questions that we're raising? There's some great things in these pamphlets, great things.
So what?
But we have 7 issues that we're dealing with.
So if there is 3 people who can be helped by this, but then there are all these issues, what do we do?
Can you cause the shul to spend money? When the shul says, I don't want this, you can or you're the balabos? You own the shul? They told you, in this shul we don't want it. And you're forcing it. You're bringing some content which is not for our kids. Who asked you to bring it here? Bring it to those people who are interested. What's that?
Can we spend it? Yeah, once the shul says not to, but before the shul says not to.
Before the shul says not to, no problem.
If it's accepted.
And if it's not accepted?
So then no, a person shouldn't do it.
You can't control what you have that possibility of doing. That means it's not up to you to control somebody else's.
Even when you call the distributors and say, please don't send it here, I can't control it.
Tzedakah giver, right? You're talking about the one who gives tzedakah. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
He's talking about both. People who make these pamphlets, they send them, and the person who gave money thinking some of it at least will be used for a good cause.
I have one person, can you give money to a vendor who smokes? Meaning, I can't control, when I give it to tzedakah, I can't control the poor people, what they do with the money. Some will be used for good, maybe some will not be used for good.
What did Yirmiyah ask Ribono Shel Olam? Hachshilem bivnei adam she'einam mehuganim. What a punishment. Make sure, Kodesh Baruch Hu, that these people give tzedakah to inappropriate people. Mimele, it's going to count as if they never gave tzedakah. If you give money to a person who's going to buy it for drugs, you didn't give tzedakah. You didn't give tzedakah. Hachshilem bivnei adam she'einam mehuganim. After Shachris, in many Sidurim, at least in my Sidur, but many Sidurim too, there's a special tefillah to say. It's not an obligation, it's a good idea. Tefillah for Parnasa and for a lot of different things. One of the sentences that you finish with over there is that I want to be zoichet to give tzedakah to those people who are worthy of tzedakah and to do achnasas orchim lechol adam. Achnasas orchim, I don't discriminate. Doesn't make a difference who the person is. But tzedakah, only to the person who is, if I'm mistakenly giving tzedakah to Gil Bates, remember the converted Bill Gates becomes Gil Bates. Did I give tzedakah? No, but he looked like he needs the money. It's not tzedakah. It's a waste of money. So I want to be able to give tzedakah to those people who are worthy of my tzedakah. So if you give it to something which is inappropriate and the whole thing goes to the garbage, chas v'shalom, or goes to Gniza and nobody used it, what did you do? You thought you were doing something good, but you really didn't?
Can I start with the last question in a tangential way? In this area, in many other areas, there's a newspaper that calls itself a Haredi newspaper, and it's delivered free, and it's put in the entrance of the building. I've seen very few people seem to take it into the house. I'm sure it contains different Torah and things, and it either ends up thrown into the garbage or just blowing around on the street. I mean, you seem to think that the end, the message you want to get across, justifies the means. Is that also correct?
That's the question you have to ask the person who puts out this newspaper if he's interested in knowing that very few people are reading it.
No, but I mean, it contains Divrei Torah, which is blown
If
out.
you know for a fact that it contains Divrei Torah and you see it in the street, you should take it up and cut those Divrei Torah and put it in Gniza and the rest to the garbage. But if you don't know for sure, you don't have an obligation to go searching whether there's Divrei Torah inside as well. And that also applies to a newspaper you buy and you bring it to the house. If you know for a fact it's Divrei Torah, you should look for those Divrei Torah, cut them up, and put it in the Gniza. The rest doesn't have to go to Gniza. But you don't know for a fact, you don't have to look to see if there are in fact some Divrei Torah. So let me say there's a lot of different pamphlets, and many of them are fantastic. And they have Divrei Torah, and they have Divrei Chizuk, and they're mechazik people, and people go home and have what to share, thoughts, Divrei Torah, thoughts about the Parsha, Chizuk, Sipuris, all kinds of stories of Ashgacha Pratis and stuff like that. They share it with their family. It's gewaldig. But in order to make sure that this continue to be great, and Khalila, the gain should not be offset by the loss. So one has to make sure that certain things are met. And the main problem here is this goes against a Shulchan Aruch. Siman Tzadi Beis, Seif Gimel, and Shulchan Aruch Chaim. The Shulchan Aruch Paskins, that before you start davening, you have to make sure that you remove all things that may take away your kavanah. And this, you're bringing in something that for sure will take away your kavanah. We're still not angels that can have perfect kavanah on two things at once. We don't do that. And by the way, from here, from this Sefer Shulchan Aruch, you see Shulchan Aruch talked about cell phones. How can a person come into shul with his cell phone on, when not only is going to deter his kavanah, everybody around? So for whatever reason the person needs his cell phone with him because he's a doctor, fine. His wife is pregnant, fine. She's in the 9th month, not pregnant in the 4th month. So keep it on silent. Vibrate. Only you should know. And then you go outside and answer it. But how can a person come with something in his hand or in his pocket that will stir his kavanah? And it's clear it's going to happen. It happens all the time. This Seif in Shulchan Aruch speaks about cell phones. That's clear. In many of those pamphlets, there are advertisements. And they don't write, don't read on Shabbos. A little disclaimer. And many people think, look, it's a Haredi shul. It looks like a Haredi type of a Divrei Torah pamphlet. It's got to be a mitzvah to read the whole thing. If I'm not reading it from cover to cover, maybe I wasn't even Yoitze. It doesn't say anywhere you can't read on Shabbos. I think it's wrong. I think the ones who put out a thing like this that have advertisement should write, please don't read on Shabbos. Or one is not allowed to read on Shabbos. Also, you have to make sure that you don't cause a burden to the Gabayim regarding the putting in Shemis, burning Gnisa.
Any ads on that are not allowed, or only things with...
Any ads except for the ads that propel you to start Daf Yomi, and Rambam Yomi, and Mishnah Berurah Yomi, and Yerushalmi Yomi. But ads that are trying to sell you something, it's called Shitrei Hediotos, you're not allowed to read on Shabbos. Even for Kodesh. Except if you're telling me the Siyum will take place on Monday at 4 p.m., that you're allowed to see. Also, there has to be some kind of a supervision over the spiritual content of the pamphlet. Every shul, according to what they accept and what they want. So the Maisa, in order to receive money for tzedakah, you need 3 conditions to be met. First of all, the publisher or the distributor has to make sure with the Gabayim that in fact they're interested in receiving this Parsha sheet, and that the sheets are not going directly into Gniza, and it doesn't cause them extra work, unless they want to, and it doesn't cause them extra spending money, unless, again, they're interested in it, fine. It's a zilzul in the money of tzedakah, that it's a donation for tzedakah purpose, that the Parsha goes directly into Gniza. It's mamish terrible. They should also make sure that there's somebody who's in charge to make sure people don't read this during davening. So some smart shuls, they only put them outside when you leave Friday night. After you leave shul, then you see it. Then you can take it home. Or you put it Friday morning in Shachi so people can take it home, and most people will take it home. Hopefully they're not going to come back with it for davening. It's the most terrible thing that you see some people do come to shul with a packet of these Parsha sheets as if tefillah is boring. So you have to have something entertaining. So I brought some material. Some of them actually have jokes. So you're reading jokes in the middle of davening. Do you have a greater zilzul in tefillah than that?
Should they write do not read
Sure, definitely should write that. There's got to be some kind of a overseeing committee, somebody in that shul to see that this is material that's fitting for us, and if it's not fitting for us, we shouldn't have it. So they claim it's for Kiyuv. Kiyuv is great, but we don't drop down the level of Torah for Kiyuv. We have to bring people up, not to bring people down. And of course you can write it in a different style of writing when you're talking in Kiyuv. Of course we write it in a different manner, in a lighter ways. But if it's not something that's fitting our community, we have the right to say, I don't want this in my community. We try to supervise what our kids read and what they don't. And if it causes a tsar to the gabayim, and you give meiser money, I'm not so sure there's an ilui neshama for the niftar. It could be that there's a yerida of the neshama. If it causes tsar and expenses that nobody wants, so lemaise, 3 conditions have to be met. Without 3 conditions, I think you have an issue. The gabayim agree that this pamphlet will be in the shul and it doesn't go directly to Gniza. It doesn't cause a zilzul in davening. The people are reading it in the middle of davening, and there's some kind of a spiritual supervision over the spiritual content of the parshit, whatever it is, to ensure that everybody in shul is on the same page with reading whatever they want, and the parents don't get upset that this is brought to their shul. It may say Hashem. Which you want to answer this?
Yeah. Let's say you see that nobody read it. If you say it has manalav milsa, that it doesn't. I heard a story. It has manalav milsa. If nobody ever read the Divrei Torah, then it doesn't have.
There is such a concept. Personally, I'm a little more machmir on that. So if you want to ask someone else, I'm more machmir on that, especially when it's in Lashon Kodesh. And I don't think the person who wrote it had that in mind. He had asmana, milsa, it's not just asmana. He published it in order for you to read it immediately. It could be that when it came off the press, they already started reading it. He wants it to be used. Divrei Torah which are printed, I think it's kedai to be machmir and to put it in the Gniza. There is such an opinion. Kedayim divrei Torah, I think, to be machmir in this matter. Good Shabbos, Rabbi Isai.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.